Well, a new UN report has been issued which points the finger yet again at excessive use of force by Israeli security forces. Now, as we remember, go back to May 2010, the Israeli forces intercepted a flotilla of ships, and in one case they boarded a ship and killed 9 Turkish nationals. In some cases people were shot in the back. Almost a year ago, a more specialist UN investigation team found that the deaths were unnecessary, wholly avoidable, and in 6 of the cases they characterized them as extrajudicial executions. Very powerful language. And this report says that excessive use of force has been used, that the deaths are unexplained, and it once again asks the question, well, why hasn't Israel done anything to hold the people responsible to account? Because that hasn't happened. In fact, what Israel did was to set up an inquiry, its own inquiry. It came out with findings in January this year. It was a whitewash, a complete whitewash. It found that what had happened, that the security forces acted lawfully, but provided absolutely no explanation for the circumstances of these people's deaths. Well, so far, the victims and their families have been let down enormously by the Israeli authorities. There is little prospect for them in the immediate future for any form of justice, and that is wholly unacceptable. I mean, the other question here is the whole question of the blockade itself. The reason that people were protesting and on that flotilla in the first place was because of the blockade of Gaza. That blockade still exists. Israel continues to impose it, imposing a humanitarian crisis in a totally man-made way. There's been no flood, there's been no earthquake, it's a man-made crisis. And in a way, if Israel felt forced to lift that blockade, perhaps those people would not have died in vain. Well, Amnesty International considers the siege of Gaza, Israel's blockade by land, by sea and by air, to be collective punishment and a breach of international law. It must be lifted immediately.